Generation X. In general terms, those born between 1965 and 1980. Latchkey kids. Independent. Existentialism. Modern philosophy focusing on personal experience, human ability, and responsibility in an otherwise meaningless universe. We're the cause. This is the effect. We're the Gen Existentialists. Welcome in, friends, to the Gen Existentialist podcast. My name is Scott.
And I'm Bunny.
And this is where we randomize ideas and questions and come up with all kinds of wacky stuff to talk about from a Gen X point of view. To do such, we have Mega Wheel the Magnificent, and we will give her a spin right now to see what our first topic will be. How you feeling today, Bunny? Feeling lucky?
Oh, I'm feeling not so lucky, but I'm feeling pretty lovely.
Okay, awesome. And so, our first question would be, would you rather get $1 every time you compliment a stranger or $100 every time you insult a stranger?
Wow. Okay, let me tell you a little story from back in our day. Now, my friend sitting across from me, Scott, used to work at a record store.
Oh, yeah.
And we were driving around as we were off to do when we were younger.
I know exactly the story.
You know the story, yeah. And Scott's like, man, you're always like bagging on people. How about I give you any CD you want from the record store if you can make it the whole drive without making an insult at somebody. And I'm telling you,
and by the way, let me throw in not give. I always paid for it.
Well, sure,
so,
yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I could pick out any CD that I wanted, and Scott would buy it for me. There you go. And it was a pretty sweet deal, you know. Yeah. We weren't more than 20 minutes from home. I think I made it about 10 minutes, and I saw some lady on the side of the road, and I said, "Oh, Thin Mint," you know, or something. I called her something insulting. And, yeah, I didn't know. I'm not screaming this out the window, insulting
The window
people.
was open.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm just kind of saying it to Scott, you know, because I'm a cantankerous soul. And there it was. I blew my chance at a free CD. So I would say $100 every time I insult someone.
Because it comes so naturally.
It does. I mean, I compliment people a lot, but not as often as Now, this means insulting someone to their face.
To get the $100.
I would take the compliment one if that were the case. If it were just on a natural day, just driving around and I see somebody and I call them a potato head or something, you know, then I would take the $100. But if it's insulting them to their face, I would say at least I'd do the compliment one. If you insult the wrong person, you're going to need more than $100 worth of dental work.
This is fair. This is true. I wouldn't go around trying to make my living off of the insults, but I think you could do it in such a way to pull in an extra $400 or $500 a day and turn it into kind of a comedy thing.
Sure.
Because
there's a Don Rickles kind of
there's
guy.
Plenty of that kind of stuff, and especially if you turned it into like a comedic thing and became a comedian doing that kind of stuff, you could really make it work. And think about it. That would be 100 compliments for every insult. You would have to compliment 100 people or give 100 compliments to get that same bang for your buck.
True.
And I have to say about that story, I knew that was going to happen.
I knew a safe bet.
Everything would be good for 5 or 10 minutes because you'd be focused on not saying the things that popped into your head. And we were driving through downtown Cincinnati, so there was a plethora of targets.
It's like the zoo open the gates.
People
were just wandering around.
And I'm looking ahead of us because I was driving, trying to pick out who the targets would be and trying to think about what you were saying in your head but not out loud.
Yeah.
And it was Thin Mint.
It was Thin Mint. Oh, she's so thin. She's so Thin Mint.
So svelte.
Yeah, bad.
So fine, so svelte. So I would go with the $100 for insulting strangers. That would be the key for me. So we will give Mega Wheel of Magnificent another spin here on the Gen Existentialist podcast and see what kind of wackiness we can come up with. And our next question is my stress level too high? Why or why not? So I guess we're answering for each other based on this question.
Oh, okay. Is your stress level too high?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. He's like rigid like a board when you walk in. Yeah, he's having some situations outside of the podcast going on right now that are not as optimal to him as he would like. So he's pretty darn stressy.
Yeah.
And what was the second part of the question?
Why or why not?
Why or why not? Well, I won't go into why.
Yeah, we don't need
because
to do that.
We don't want to endanger anyone's livelihood. But yeah, it's your stress level is way too high.
Yeah, it is. You seem like you're in a pretty good place.
Yeah.
Like I've seen you way more stressed
True.
than you are lately.
Yeah.
So it seems like, things are pretty calm in your world.
I'm enjoying the doldrums of the summer.
Yeah. And I think you're in a fairly new place. You've got a new vehicle. Business is going well. It just seems
not worrying
like
about my car falling apart around me when I drive takes a lot of the stress out of life.
Yeah, it just seems like things are going pretty well for you right now.
Yeah,
I'm happy for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and let it be known that the stress that I'm going through is all of my own making.
Self-inflicted stress.
Yeah, basically. I think most people, if you get down to it, if you dig down to the causes of their stress, I think a lot of times most of it is self-inflicted.
Well, I think a lot of times stress is your way of, the world's way or your body's way or whatever's way of telling you that, you can be happy with less.
Yeah.
And you can be happy with the present, and you can be, you need to just kind of cool your tits, as they used to say back in the day. Yeah. And just sort of, kind of reevaluate and see where you can get yourself. I think we had a question a while ago that was about poverty. Yeah. And impoverishment and whatever they call it nowadays, and cool new words to not scare people. But, I mean, there's a lot of times where you can live with a lot less and be just as happy or even happier. I think when you get our age, the idea that time is really that's what makes valuable. You rich. Is time.
Yeah, and that's the truth. And I learned that once before. And I even having the lesson in the back of my mind.
The universe's way of telling you, hey, get back on that. Yeah, get back, honky cat. Yes, as Elton John would say.
Yeah, one of those for me. I should have known, and I really should have.
That's okay. This is how you learn. I mean, you can't theorize everything. Sometimes you have to have to go into situations and see how it works out. So and kudos for expanding your horizons in that respect.
Well, you have to. I think for both of us, learning is a focal point. Yeah. A day you don't pick up something new or read something new or do something new is kind of a waste. And I've always tried to learn from, especially my mistakes, but even from successes, continual improvement. Could have been better. How can I do better next time? And I knew it when I made the decision, but it was just one of those things where I was focused on the wrong stuff.
Sure.
And, one of those things. So we will give Mega Wheel Magnificent another spin here on the Gen Existentialist podcast.
Where there's life, there's hope, man. Just keep on plugging.
Exactly.
The next opportunity will present itself.
Yep. And it's weird, too, because that presentation of opportunity, there's a part of me that feels like, the universe provides, but you still have to be an active participant. So it's one of those things where... and
that's the opportunity knocks thing. You have to answer the door. You know, it's opportunity's always knocking. Yeah. If you look at it that way.
And my wife and I have talked about this, and we have so many times in our lives, in our relationship, where if we want to do something and things just keep happening to knock it off the tracks, the times we haven't listened and we've followed through with it, at the end of it, we go, man, we should have known. Everything was going badly about this, and it turned out badly. So listen to the universe. If you're trying to plan a trip, and every place you're trying to book a hotel at is too expensive, or there's something that's not right, pull back.
Sure.
Pull back, because you're just setting yourself up for things to go wrong. Yeah. We've tried to learn that. Yeah. And in certain recent situations, there were signposts. There were things there that were like waving at me like, hey, you need to pay attention to this too. Don't get waylaid by the stuff you're focusing on. And I didn't.
Sure.
And that's what put me here.
Yeah, that's, listen to your gut. That's basically what we're saying. If you don't want to listen to the universe, that's too woo-woo for you. Just listen to your gut. It's almost never wrong.
Yeah.
It's frightening how you've got this amazing prediction item right in your gut.
Yeah.
you know which way to go.
Yeah.
You're like a magic 8-ball, except you're usually always right.
Instinct and experience count for a lot, and that's your gut. It really is.
So where did old Meg land this time?
Meg landed on, and I find this to be a perfect next question. Why is depression so stigmatized in society?
I don't think it is anymore. I think there was a time maybe when we were younger, in our Gen X days, where being depressed was...
buck up, soldier. Come on, put a smile on that face.
Sure, between that and you had cartoon characters like Schleprock. You remember him from the Flintstone Kids or whatever? There was always... Nobody wanted to be around the mopey, sad, gothy kid, back in the day. And that was sort of this manufactured depression. I think actual depression is something that has become so mainstream anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure why that is. It's kind of a bad thing, really, when you think about it, that it's so mainstream now that nearly everyone I would say 8 out of every 10 people you meet has been prescribed some sort of SSRI or some sort of drug, for either hyperactivity or depression or something, some sort of mental instability. That it's kind of depressing. So I don't think it's segue.
But
I don't know if it's really stigmatized at all really anymore.
I think depending on who you're talking to, it can still kind of be that way, but largely it's not. Yeah. When we were younger, like you said, it was. And having been treated for depression, therapy did me more good than drugs did.
Okay.
I did try drugs twice and didn't like the counterpoint to where I was.
Say no to drugs, kids.
Yeah.
Take a bite out of crime.
Therapy, though, I was in therapy for a very short time, actually. But the tools that I got from that helped me a great deal and still help me today.
Okay.
When I start to spiral, I lean back on those things that I learned in those sessions with my therapist back in 2013.
Okay.
And they have been and are a consistent help. Because I think creative people, not to put a cap on, but you'll relate to this. You tend to look deeper into things, and when you look deeply into the mirror, there's more of a chance that you're going to see not only the extreme good, but the extreme bad. And if you have a natural tendency leaning toward focusing on the darkness anyway, seeing that extreme bad can pull you down very easily.
And here's a controversial question to add to this. Do you think it's different with different races? I believe that with Caucasians or European people, it's more acceptable. The whole idea of depression is more acceptable. I wonder if it's the same with Middle Eastern races or African Americans or Latinos. Is it looked at differently?
It's a great question.
I mean, because I would think in some cultures that are more into the machismo or the masculine or the, just if you have too much time to lean, you have time to clean. That sort of idea of, navel gazing. That gives you too much time to sit and think about dumb things. You need to keep busy. You need to fill that with religion or something, instead. I mean, cultures that have that as more of their core.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's different, because I know within a Caucasian society, I swear everybody's got depression, or everybody has anxiety, or everybody has ADHD, or autism, or something going on.
And the thing is,
it's weird.
You look at those things like ADHD is brain chemistry, autism, brain chemistry, right? And not all of depression is chemistry. Some of it is literally thought processes. And I think that's what my issue was. I think that's why the drugs didn't really do for me what you would typically expect, because it wasn't a brain chemistry thing. It was how I was thinking and how I was processing things. So there are a lot of different aspects to depression. And I think bringing in the culture stuff, that's a great question too, because some cultures do look at these kind of things very differently.
I think it would be much more stigmatized in some cultures. And maybe you guys out there can help us out. If you're someone who feels like you can answer that question, go ahead and drop us a line. Let us know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I would be interested in even having guests on from different cultures to literally like make this a topic, or like do a sub show on this, because I think it would be really neat to uncover some of those different aspects, and maybe even from like jobs, not even cultures, but jobs, depending on what you do. Is depression something that is accepted and you can get help with, or is it something where it's, put a smile on that face, buck up, you just got to go, you just got to take it. Because mental health is important. Your well-being in your head affects everything. It affects your point of view, and it can tumble quickly if you're not taking care of it. So yeah, for us, white males, I don't think it is as stigmatized as it used to be, which is a great thing. But for everybody else, women, people from different cultures, people from different religions, I would be interested in kind of ripping the lid off and seeing where that can go, and where people think they stand based on their place in society. So, with that, we will give Mega Wheel the Magnificent one more spin for this episode and see what she comes up with. And we're spinning and spinning, and we have got... What popular TV shows or movies do you refuse to watch?
I have still never seen E.T., the Extraterrestrial.
What?
I am a Gen X kid through and through, born in 1973. Never saw E.T., never had an interest in seeing it, and now it's a point of contention with me where I refuse to watch it even though I have access to it. I have it pulled down on my hard drive in case I ever decide this is deathbed time. I need to watch it to get it out of my system. That's one of them. I absolutely refuse to watch reality television.
Yeah.
I hate these things like the Great Race or whatever it was called, or the whatever the island one was, where you go and you stay on an island.
Survivor.
Survivor. I don't watch anything like that. I have this thing. It's funny. My wife used to go over to her friend's house to watch Survivor because they were really into it when it first came on.
Yeah.
And this was one of the only times I ever put my foot down, like really hardcore. This was like hardcore patriarchy mode, where I was like, I refuse to have that stuff on my television in my house because it breeds negativity. The whole thing. Yeah. When you let poison into your system, it fucks everything up. And this kind of manufactured, I think, coming from everything as an editor, as a TV film editor, I know the tricks that these people play.
Oh, sure.
Everything is manufactured on these programs. There's very little that happens that is unexpected, and it's manufactured to bring out the worst in everybody. Yeah. So I had this like coming to Jesus moment. It was bizarre. I was just kind of like, no, I refuse. And, my wife still giggles about that to today, where it was just like, nope, he doesn't want to watch it. So we're going to go over and watch it at the friend's house because he's got a real stick up his butt about that stuff. That's definitely something that I will not watch. Yeah. So those are the two biggies, I guess, right there. Okay. I don't know what my bone is about E.T. I got passed up. I didn't get to see it. I've still never seen Karate Kid. Like these are like defining Gen X movies that I'm talking about here.
Kinda.
You know, and I never saw it. I have no interest in watching it. I don't want to watch Cobra Kai.
You didn't miss as much with Karate Kid as you did with E.T.
I thought that was like a chick movie, Karate Kid. It was terrible. I was like, this is a chick flick. I don't want to watch that.
E.T. is a legitimately good film.
Okay.
It really is. But I have not seen, nor do I intend to ever watch Die Hard.
Okay.
Just
you aren't missing that much.
Well, but
everybody says you are missing a lot because of the whole Christmas aspect of it and all that.
That stuff. And I don't mind Bruce Willis. I like Alan Rickman. There's no reason for me not to watch it, except for I haven't seen it yet. Mm-hmm. It's your same thing with E.T.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm not going to see it now.
You know,
I'm just not.
What we should do a live stream where we sit down and we watch those movies together.
We could.
You know, because I remember I saw Die Hard in the cinema.
Okay.
And, I mean, it's fine for what it is. It's one of those movies that's like, this is not connected other than being a Christmas movie, but National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Sure.
Okay. Where people have created this entire mythos around shitter's full, you know, oh, it's funny, you know, the turkey's fucked up or whatever. You know, they create this whole kind of mythos around it, and it becomes this kind of, it's like the that movie with the dude in it. I can't remember.
Big Lebowski.
Big Lebowski, where they've.
I haven't seen that either.
I've seen it. You're not missing a damn thing.
You've seen that, and I haven't. That's surprising.
Yeah, I have seen.
Yeah, but that's another one though. I haven't seen it.
I'm a big John Goodman fan. I'm a big Steve Buscemi fan. So of course I watched it.
But I'm
Jeff
not
Bridges. That's a sell for me.
Yeah,
they're all three good actors for me. So I watched it. I don't understand the fascination around it. It's definitely a cult film.
Yeah,
like the Christmas Vacation film is.
Yeah.
Like Die Hard has become because everybody's like, it's a Christmas movie, damn it.
And I just started seeing that like 3 or 4 years ago on like social media feeds. And that just reinforced, fuck no, I'm not going to watch it. I'm not interested.
That's the way I was with E.T. because I'd see all the commercials around Christmas time. And they're like, oh, E.T.'s doing this, and E.T.'s doing that, and here's the Reese's Pieces, and here's our tie-ins with McDonald's, and here's our tie-ins with whatever, Burger King. And I was like, this sucks. I don't want to watch this, you know. Look at all this tie-in stuff. I'm not going to get into the cult of E.T.
On the reality TV, because we talked about movies, my TV shows are also reality TV.
Okay.
And it goes back to this. First couple years of Survivor, I thought it was interesting. That was in the infancy of quote-unquote reality TV. Mm-hmm. But there was an episode, and I don't remember if it was Survivor or one of the other like similar shows. But during the episode, one of the contestants fell in the fire. Okay, and this is what pissed me off. I got literally livid about this and have not watched any reality TV since. The dude fell in the fire.
Okay.
And they had EMTs there.
Sure.
That took care of him.
Yeah.
Took him off the set. And eventually I think he came back. My take, if it's called fucking Survivor, guess what, buddy? You're going to die on that island. And that's what should have happened.
Oh,
so
geez.
To call it reality TV is a load of horse pucky, as Colonel Sherman Potter would have said.
It's the interactions between people is the reality.
No, not for me.
Do you remember The Real World on MTV?
I never watched that.
That was sort of the infancy of reality television. That came out in like the mid-'90s, I guess, or early 90s. And all it was sticking a bunch of bratty idiots in a building in some fancy city, whichever city they were trying to push, Seattle, Chicago, whatever, and watching them fight over each other. Oh, so-and-so's fucking so-and-so. Oh, you're making eyes at da-da-da. Oh, you're a homo. Ah, ha, ha. You know, back when you could say stuff like that. And this is, you know, that's all it was just constant infighting. Yeah. And that's where it all spawned from. So now let's have them infight on an island. Now let's put them in a mansion and have them fight over a bunch of bachelors or whatever.
Or the crap with all the singing competitions. It's like,
The Voice.
You know what? Just stop. If you want to be a singer, go out, find a band, go sing.
Sure.
Go do it. Do it for real.
Yeah.
Don't just sing in your bedroom. Go sing.
Yeah.
Because God knows so many bands out there need a singer.
I'll tell you, landscape of television since
cracked.
the 2000s probably has just been deplorable. There's,
in a lot of ways,
I know there's been stuff like what ER or whatever the show is that everybody watches, Scrubs. I guess that was it.
No, I think
I
think the chasm between the excellent and the crepulent is much wider now.
Nice word.
Is much wider now.
Yeah.
I think a lot of TV is just, you wonder how the network gave somebody the money to make this.
My 600-pound wife.
Stuff like that.
Stuff like that.
And then you see stuff that's really well done, that really strikes you from an artistic point of view, from an emotional point of view, and you're like, okay, this is what we're supposed to be doing. This is great.
The simple fact that they took my channels like TLC and Discovery and the the Food Network and all that.
And it's all reality TV.
Yeah, it's all reality TV. Now they got some Asian chick popping people's pimples on television, like Dr. Pimple Popper. Have you not seen her?
No.
Oh, she's old school. This is 5 years old or whatever now. But the simple fact that they had an entire show where this attractive Asian woman lanced people's boils on television or extracted blackheads from them in graphic detail. This was on the Learning Channel.
Why?
What am I learning? To hate humanity?
Why would you make a show about that?
I guess the fat people, with their skin cracking and stuff and being able to be hauled out of their house on a crane, whether an engine block crane, wasn't gross enough for everybody. So
yeah, I mean, and honestly, folks like that, I feel bad for them.
Sure, yeah, it's exploitation, but
yeah, and I mean, they sign the waivers.
Yeah, and television's always been about exploitation in a lot of ways. So.
Anyway,
Pimple Popper.
That's the way we will end this episode of the Gen X Existentialist.
You going to put a pin in it? You going to lance it?
I'm going to lance this episode.
All right.
Please let us know your TV shows and movies that you absolutely refuse to watch.
Yeah.
Leave us a note, and may come up as a topic again in the near future if somebody gives us some good stuff to talk about.
Especially the movies. It'd be a great list to actually set up and see if we've seen it,
and
too.
do some live streams.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, until next time, my name is Scott.
And I'm Bunny.
And we are the Gen X Existentialists. We'll catch you next time. Have a good one.